Hi all, welcome to a little video recapping how tourism can help reduce the development gap. And we have looked at Rwanda and guerrilla eco-tourism as a strategy to reduce the development gap. So let's begin with, the main attraction for ecotourism in this region. So we're all going to start off with the most awesome looking gorillas, obviously. So if we draw their little faces to start off with. Oh, don't forget his nose. And gorillas, these are very large, majestic creatures that we're drawing here. And they are the main attraction of the ecotourism in this location of Rwanda. So there we go, there's our gorilla. Now we need to know reasons why tourism is being employed as a strategy to reduce the development gap. Let's begin with the GDP in Rwanda, which is very low. So GDP per capita, less than $700 a year, and life expectancy is 63.6 years. So I've taken two development statistics, indicators of development, and we can clearly see here that there needs to be strategies to reduce the development gap of this low income nation. And tourism is one of the strategies they've employed. On the left, we're going to look at the positives. So what has the guerrilla ecotourism brought to Rwanda? Well, firstly, 200 direct jobs for people employed directly involved with guerrilla tourism. For example, we have got trackers, very specific niche skills, where they go out before the tourists looking for the gorillas, so then they can take the tourists, and then the tourists will be happy once they've been able to see the gorillas. You've got your hospitality jobs, working in the accommodation where the tourists are staying, and the guides, but that's quite a case study specific example, the trackers. So it's always good to have something specific about your case study that you can mention. The income generated, $5 million a year. Not only are the directly people employed benefiting, but it has generated a multiplier effect in the areas where guerrilla tourism accommodation has been set up. For example, our farmers who are providing food for the hotels. So we've got the farmer tending their crops there. So they supply the food to the hotels, they've got extra income there, or extra market to sell to, and they can employ more people, and that's a multiplier, that knock-on effect, snowballing of economic activity in the region. And then lastly, we've got investment from the income into the area to improve quality of life for the gorillas and the local population. So money generated from the ecotourism has been invested in protecting this vital species who are highly endangered. It has enabled more jobs in the guards protecting the area, so there's more patrols, they can afford to pay for more of those, and they've invested in GIS mapping, quite high sophisticated technology to map the region so they can protect the gorillas more effectively from poaching. The communities have also benefited in these rural locations with schools being built. Over 10 schools have been built so children can get better education, improve their life chances. And they've also spent some time improving diversity in the way in which the locals can earn an income. So to reduce the risk of further poaching, to encourage protection of the gorillas, locals have been skilled up in other industries, and one has been in beekeeping. So it improves biodiversity in the region, it helps maintain a healthy ecosystem, and brings in income from selling the honey that the bees create, which is fantastic. So a whole variety of benefits for the gorilla tourism. And as we know, there's always two sides to every story, and there are disadvantages. Unfortunately, where investment has happened, it's led to an unbalanced or enhanced the inequalities in the country. So where gorilla tourism has taken place, there's been a greater economic and social benefit, but other areas of Rwanda have not benefited at all, and they've been left behind to some extent. So unequal development has been a result. Ecotourism is designed to be small scale. However, you do have to have some tourist infrastructure in place, and they do have to be moved the 2 hours from the airport to where the accommodations are in the hills. And this does mean more vehicles on the road, and it has led to increased greenhouse gases, so the global impact, and also decrease in the local air quality. Lastly, there are concerns, even though the numbers are highly controlled and permits are required for this to take place, this gorilla ecotourism, there are concerns about the impacts on the behaviour of the gorillas when they're interacting with the tourists, and also the potential for the contamination or spread of disease from visiting tourists and the gorillas. So there's a potential risk in the future if the numbers aren't closely controlled and tourists closely monitored, that the gorillas could become exposed to these diseases, which would decrease their numbers even more. There's only about 310 approximately gorillas in Rwanda and neighbouring Uganda, so they are highly endangered and do require protection. But this is one strategy we can use to assess how tourism can help reduce the development gap and encourage this country to be better for their population.